Hello, I'm Fred Massey. I am founder and owner of Visions 2020 LLC. I want to introduce you to my company, Visions 2020 LLC. This has been an endeavor for over 20 years. I was able to formally start it in January of 2020, and it's been for me a vision that's been in the works for the last 20 years. I provide multiple services, specifically in financial services. I'm able to provide interim uh, financial accounting services. I've operated for multiple clients as an interim director of finance, a contracted chief financial officer, and I'm also currently being able to provide assessments for business operations to assess departments, specifically outpatient mental health services, or any other departments that they look at evaluating to see the profitability or whether or not this is an organization that might need to look at other alternative ways of providing services or making money. I have over 4 or 5 clients currently right now that I've been able to build up over the years. And I'm able to provide that in such a way that is specifically for nonprofits. Even though it's tied to nonprofits, I have vast experience in dealing with healthcare, human services, health, and welfare. My journey, as I said before, started almost 20 years ago. I've been executive and executive management, senior management for that 20-year period of time in healthcare systems, large nonprofits. And through that experience, I've been able to see firsthand the need that these organizations need in order to be able to survive. As we have witnessed with the pandemic, many nonprofit organizations and small businesses that had started up over the last year or two are in danger of surviving. But at the same time, it's these very organizations that are needed for us to be able to survive, get our food, get our health care, get the necessary services, goods and services, so that we can continue to live and be able to provide for our families. But the very organizations are in danger. And I'm able to come in and bring such expertise that these organizations would not have been able to afford initially. One of the things I've been able to do as I've been an executive for over 20 years is I've been able to look at running nonprofits and running other organizations, being able to merge, being able to hire finance staff, being able to help bring organizations together so they can have economies of scale. But that typical expertise is with for-profit entities and larger organizations that have multiple departments, can have access to resources to be able to bring that in. But the one I said before is that the smaller organizations, small businesses that are starting up, and even the nonprofits that are out there as essential workers, they need that analysis. They need the individuals to come in and be able to provide that support so they can be as fit as possible financially and organizationally to continue to survive through this crisis. I spent many years abroad, and I wrote a book on kingdom economics that dealt with how do you go about providing services as an individual and also as an organization. But the particular journey that I shared in that book was my personal journey as I went through learning business schools and learning business seminars about all the different things from financial information. But what I realized is that I first have to understand, what am I purpose for? Because if you understand your purpose, then you're able to meet the needs of who you are. And from there, you're able to have fulfillment. And that's what I want to be able to bring to organizations. Organizations that have been dedicated to help out, whether it's an owner that started their own small business or nonprofit, there is definitely commitment and vision tied to that. And it's my job to go in and provide that service so that I can bring that vision out and make it into operations. I've been successful for that as a CEO over many organizations, but I'm able now to be able to take that expertise and bring it to the mass organizations that are smaller, that necessarily couldn't have the resources to afford that level of service, but they still need it. I've been a joy and pleasure for being able to do this. The NAACP Powershift Entrepreneur Grant will allow me to be able to scale up much faster than from my own resources that I've developed it over time. I would be able to once again hire multiple positions that could provide shared services to these organizations and get the level of expertise that is necessary that they can be able to afford. Because when I did my study last year and I looked at in this area where I'm from, in the Pittsburgh area, I recognized that the larger organizations that were $10 million or more, they were experiencing an operating loss over the last 3 years. But they still need this service, and so there's a lot of merger and acquisition activity going around in this area. However, how are the organizations that are smaller than that going to be able to survive if they don't understand getting the infrastructure, being able to use the shared services such as a level controller, a chief financial officer, a good strong staff account that would help. Many of these organizations are $1 million or less and can't afford that structure. But if you allow for 5 of these organizations to come together with shared service concept, you're able to provide the expertise at a level that's feasible to them. And that's what I tend to do, and that's how my business has been starting over the last year and has continued to grow. So this grant will allow me to be able to hire on additional staff in a quicker manner so I can service and hopefully save more organizations so that they can survive this pandemic, as we know that this will carry out for the next 2 or 3 years. I thank you for the consideration. I look forward to being able to share then the information and spend the time to learn from such the expertise that has been coming and has been submitting themselves so that we can grow as a community, because I believe it's necessary for us to come together in order for this to survive. Thank you once again.